Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with Ilker Çatak, director and co-writer of The Teacher's Lounge, Germany's entry for Best International Feature at the 96 Academy Awards. Ilker, what does this mean to you to be selected to represent Germany this year? And, what do you hope to represent for German cinema?
Well, of course, it's a great thing. I mean, none of us expected this because our film is just, we started out making this film as a really small film. And now all of a sudden, you're representing a whole country and also like a cultural identity of the country. And it's great. But at the same time, it's a great responsibility.
I want to know, what tormented teacher did you have growing up that inspired Carla, or were you the bad student, or what led you to come up with this story and inspire the script?
Yeah, I mean, I was no easy student, I think. I was a good student though. I always had good grades, but I was always up for a discussion or, even a fight with the teacher, and was a bit of a troublemaker. And and after school, like when you get a little older and you get a little milder, your view on the world and on your teachers changes drastically, actually. And yeah, Johannes and I, my co-writer and I, we just thought, hey, why aren't there any cool teachers films around? Like most of the teachers that we know, or in films, at least in Europe, they're like, worn out, or, and we thought, why can't we make a film about a good teacher who just wants the best for her students, but still does the wrong thing, maybe? And that was like the kickoff for that story.
Well, it's so fascinating because it starts with a series of school thefts. But then what's brilliant about your film is that you turn it into this thriller that's just happening in a teacher's lounge for over petty theft. And the score is incredible. Talk about the music, because the music, I think, really changes the feeling and helps you feel like, you're on the edge the whole time in this teacher's lounge.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the music, because Marvin Miller, the composer, and I have been working for over 10 years. He was actually he was in his early 20s, and I was in my early 20s when we started out making short films together. And for a couple of years, I didn't see the guy at all. It was all remote, we even had this thing going on where I said, okay, Marvin is a phantom. And at some project, I finally got to meet him in person. I went to his studio, and so did I for this film. And it was like, for him, this was I think it was a tough experience, because the music is so redundant and it's so little, like there are so few elements that I allowed him to use. I said, I want you to really strip yourself off of possibilities, because that's been what we've done in every department, as well as like in the writing process. We said we aren't going to leave school and for the whole image, we said only certain colors. And here I said just certain instruments, 4 classical instruments. And he came up with, like, his first suggestions were more diverse, were varying the thing. But I wanted it to be, much more of a neurosis, and he was afraid that this could be like uninspired, could come across as uninspired, And I said, don't worry, it'll be great. And I'm very glad that it's resonating with you, because it was a tough process for him. And every element in that music, like, because it's so redundant, if you use that string, it needs to be perfect. And you cannot imagine how many nights and days Marvin was just spending, trying to get the perfect tune and the perfect sound to it. And we listened to it in different theaters. We listened to it on different, setups. And this is eventually what came out.
I loved it. And as I mentioned, there's a series of thefts, but the teacher is actually a victim of theft. And as she's trying to go about, you know, solving this, it's almost like the roles are reversed and suddenly she's the pariah. Like all of a sudden, like she's the one getting all the negative attention. Is this sort of a like talking about society in some ways and where we are, because the parents all have a WhatsApp group message about the teachers where they're analyzing everything they do. The kids, to me, I mean, maybe this is my interpretation, they're a little coddled. Like I feel like they're like not getting what they deserve. So it, you know, am I supposed to be feeling this way, or are you just like, yeah, feel how you want to feel?
No, I mean the cool thing about good stories, I think, is that they take turns that you don't expect. And
Yeah.
we were hoping to achieve something like that in this story, where you have a teacher who's like really confident and who's like really idealistic, and all of a sudden she's like in the center of a fire, you know, of a war. And we thought it's actually, it just, you know, reflects our times where you can say a wrong word and all of a sudden you have a shitstorm around yourself or to deal with. And yeah, and I mean, there were so many topics that kind of bugged us in our times, like the whole debate culture. You know, you go on the internet, on social media, everybody is, you know, at war with each other. It's not about listening to the other again anymore. It's about, you know, being right and also being righteous. And, you know, we thought there's a lot of things that we can kind of implement what we see in our culture right now today, in today's, you know, what's going on today in this film. And yeah, and I mean, school is a great place to do that, because school is kind of, you know, a miniature of a society. And yeah, it is, that's how this came along.
Even one of your shots that struck me is the security has to take out his students, and even as they're taking him away, they take him in the chair. To me, it looked like servants, like carrying a king. I mean, that was my interpretation. It's like these, it's like they're very worried about, you know, disciplining children, and the children sort of have the run of this school.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so for those who, you know, I mean, for those who haven't seen the film, it's about like you're talking about the kid who's like really standing his ground and saying no to hierarchies. And, you know, and we thought if we live in a democracy today, it's because somebody at some point had to pay a price and said no to a force that is, you know, stronger than him or her. And that's why we thought this kid deserves kind of this, you know, this image where he can be king for a second.
I want to talk about your lead actress, Leonie Benesch. Did I say
Benesch, yes.
Benesch? Your lead actress, because she's phenomenal. I mean, she just exudes the emotion and the stress. I mean, the whole time I'm watching her, I'm like, my blood pressure is going up for her. Talk about casting her and her performance throughout this film.
Yeah, so when we write a script, we have the different characters, and we would always put images on the walls, and you know, just for inspirational matters. But her image was there from the very beginning, even though we didn't know that she was gonna do it or if she had the time. But I wanted her from the very beginning for this role, and we kind of tailored it to her because I knew, like, I saw her in Michael Haneke's White Ribbon a couple of years ago, and I thought she's just brilliant, you know, and she was just very, very young back then, 17 years old. And I kept track of what she was doing, all the, like, you know, every film that she was starring in, she was always brilliant. Even if the films weren't that great, she was always great. And I was thinking, like, why isn't she having, you know, hasn't anybody like cast her in her lead? And when I asked her, she said, yes, I'm going to do it. Great. I like your script. I don't know what you're getting at, but I like your script. But you got to know, I don't like children. And I said, don't worry. I said, don't worry, I'm going to take care of the children. You just have to be their teacher. And turns out she did, like, she does actually have a very good communication with children. But yeah, I you know, it was just, you know, and the thing is with Leonie, she has just such a good intuition. She's so smart that me as a director, we barely spoke on set because there was this kind of telepathical thing where she would just make a suggestion and I would love it and I could move on, you know, and that's why we would wrap up early every day. And that's because of her, because she nailed it every time.
Is that one of the most challenging things is casting children and making sure that the right fit, because you have a group of them. So this isn't about finding one kid, you have to find a classroom.
Yes. Yes, I mean every kid in that class is handpicked, and I had like 3 stages of casting. In the first stage, I gathered like little groups of 4 to 6, and the goal was to convince me, their teacher, to go to a Fridays for Future demonstration on Friday to save the planet, and I'd be the naysayer. And they would have to convince me why it's important to, go out and demonstrate and, save the planet. And then in those sessions, I could very quickly see what kid is playful and what kid is, comes up with arguments. We would, do these improvisations. And then I would gather those kids and put them in the classroom in the presence of cameras. And with those cameras, I would do like test shootings and then look at those test shootings in the movie theater and look at their chemistry. And then in the third step, I would have personal interviews with them and say, listen, we're making a film. This is like, I'm not your boss. You're not the kid. We're colleagues. And I want you to have certain work ethics. I want you to, read the script. I want you to make up your mind. I want you to, come up with ideas. I want you to sleep early. I want you to be aware that we're a family and we take care of each other, and whenever, we're brothers and sisters. And what I would also tell them, because some parents, as you can imagine, sometimes come to you and they say, well, my child doesn't have any line. And I would say, no, there are no extras, and that's what I also told the production, because I wanted every kid to earn the same money. So it was basically, so it was like we're all on the same level. And and then in the morning when we were shooting the film, I would start the day with a conversation and just really talk about their dreams, their fears, their relationship to their parents, their all these things, where it's more than just, okay, we're here to make a movie. No, we're not there to make a movie. We're there to have an encounter. And I saw them as human beings, and I wanted to know what's going on in their minds. And I think that's something that they valued, and that's why they opened up for this film and for me, and for all of this. And that's how I got those performances, I guess.
Yeah, fantastic performances all around. And Ilker, good luck this award season, and congratulations on the Teachers Lounge, and thanks for joining our panel today.
Thanks for having me.